Let's talk about the award. Would you name the award and tell us what the award was for?
The Colonel Alexander Doniphan Award. It is selected by the senior class, and they select one male student who they feel is most likely to succeed, and then there's a female award for the other half of the class. So.
This is a big deal, though. This is something that transcends athletics, that what we deal with mostly this side of the campus. And what does it mean to you, though?
I feel like my classmates showed me a tremendous amount of respect, and that they respect me as a leader on campus, and they expect me, and the expectation for me is to be a leader in whatever business world or job I get after school. So there's a level of respect I feel that they bestowed upon me, but also an expectation.
Yeah, and what kind of made you come to that point? I mean, what things have you been involved with on campus other than athletics, obviously?
Yes, I was, of course, a player on the football team, and I have a major that is in both the business and the science department, so I got to interact with a large variety of students. I was very active in my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Order, at both the William Jewell level as well as the national level for that. I actually took an internship in Washington, D.C. with them this summer. So I've been around campus a bunch, and then there's some other, like Order of Omega, which is an honor society, Alpha Lambda Delta, which is an honor society, and there's a few other things mixed in there that I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about. So, yeah, I've been pretty involved in campus, and I mean that's one of the reasons why I came here at Jewell.
What value is that as far as the campus life? If you were talking to a freshman who wants to sit in his dorm, except for classes, what would you say to him?
Don't come to Jewell, because you won't enjoy it. What makes Jewell special is the communal aspect of it, and people who want to just kind of breeze through college and go to class and get a degree, they don't belong at Jewell, because in order to get the full Jewell experience, you need to be engaging with your peers, engaging with the professors, and getting the whole community aspect of the campus.
Talk to us a little bit, if you would, about what your future plans are past graduation.
My future plans are pretty open. I took a very broad major, so I would have a lot of doors open when I left school, and none of the doors have really closed, so that's making my job of selecting a profession pretty difficult. I'm very interested in the biotechnology field, whether I want to get into that as a doctor and be doing the advancement of the field, or if I want to be going into that on the business aspect of it, in the sales, the development, and the financing of these projects. I'm not sure yet, but I think I'm going to graduate and get a job in some sort of a science-related company and see where I go from there. If I can return to school, I return to school. If not, I just keep going.
How about the idea of fraternities being involved in campus life? First of all, how involved are the fraternities? And second of all, as an athlete, how did that work?
You definitely had to pick times and be a good time manager with being an athlete and being in a fraternity, because a lot of what's in a fraternity is, I think the vast majority of the time is spent in philanthropic work. So on the weekends, on the nights, you're trying to raise money a few times a year, you're trying to raise man hours a few times a year. So it does take a lot of work in to make sure that the house is operating well. Originally when I came to Jewell, I wasn't going to join one because I felt like the football team was a fraternity in itself, because you're just a close band of guys. But because the football team's so large, I mean, we're over 100 guys now, I wanted something a little more secluded and a little more intimate, so I chose a fraternity where I could have those really close connections with maybe 10 guys. So that's how I went about that decision.
Coaches supportive of that for the most part?
Yeah, coaches are very supportive of that. They understand that one of the reasons why kids come to Jewell is because they can be involved in multiple things, and I don't think that they would be happy if I was missing practice so I could attend a dance, but I think they would understand that being at Jewell is a community thing, and you need to take advantage of other activities, including fraternity life at Jewell while you're here.
For people that don't know, I've said this to you before and you didn't seem offended by it, but an undersized defensive lineman is a good way to describe your role here during your football career?
That would be accurate, yes.
What was that like, especially in the transition to Division II? Those guys across the line must have gotten a lot bigger in Division II.
They were stronger, and they had better technique. I wouldn't say they were any bigger. The guys I just remember my freshman year, there was a guy who was 6'6", 360, and they don't get much bigger than that. But being an undersized defensive lineman, it made you appreciate Advil a lot. But the guys in Division II are better technique-wise than NAIA, and it takes a toll on your body to be done, and to play, and you kind of have to pick and choose. If you're going to be an undersized defensive lineman, then you need to be a smarter player.
He's going to roll left.
Chased by Bullis. And out of bounds at the 30-yard line.
That didn't look like much, but Bullis did a nice job right there of really getting a good angle on him for a defensive lineman and getting him out of bounds for a couple-yard gain.
You can't be sticking your head down in the middle of gaps and those sorts of things in the middle of plays and expect to be okay after a game. So you have to be smart, you have to know your strengths, you have to address your weaknesses.
How about that move to Division II, though? Well, did you like it? I mean, in retrospect, now that it's over, was it the challenge it was painted to be?
I think that the challenge that we thought it was going to be, I mean, we thought it was just going to be a Herculean task, and I don't think it was for the most part. I think that we realized that we can play with these guys, and this past season and the year before that, we realized that we could play with Division II teams, especially in the GLVC. And I think that now that we see that we're there, we know what holes we need to fill and where we need to get better in order to compete there in the future.
Do you have a favorite moment from your football career?
Oh, favorite moment. I do remember, one moment that I remember specifically, though, is my visit. And that was what sealed the deal for me, because I knew I liked Jewel as a school, and it was a better school than the other ones I was looking at, but I didn't know if I liked the football team. And I had a visit, and some guys might remember Phil Scanlon and Mark Gerster, who were here 3 years ago, but they were some of the funniest guys you could ever be around. And after that visit, I had made my decision that I was going to come to Jewel, and just my favorite moment, I think, would be the bus rides to and from games with those guys, and being in the locker room before practice, before a game, because there was never a dull moment. And you know, you kind of need to choose your school based upon who you want to be around.
Barnes. Good protection. Now it breaks down, and the Cardinals come up with a sack. It may well have been Hearns, and also in there looks like Bullis.
Yeah, Tyler Bullis, that's what we need from him. He's one of our senior leaders. Has done a great job here at Jewel for 4 years, and he just kept coming.
How about campus life? Do you have one moment that kind of sticks out for you?
I would say this past semester, I really enjoy faculty-student interaction, and this past semester I've been able to interact with 3 or 4 professors on almost a weekly basis in a mentoring kind of capacity. And I would say that that's been the highlight of my 4 years here, just being able to say, you know, I'm almost done with my time here, but these 4 or 5 professors are going to be an influence in my life now and in the future.
Let's say I'm an 18-year-old, to wrap this up a little bit, and I'm looking between Jewel and maybe another school. What's your pitch to come to Jewel?
The academic rigor and the atmosphere that's promoted, I mean, it promotes involvement, it promotes success, and every single person at this institution wants you to succeed and will put you in a position to succeed. And I'm not sure that's something you're going to get from every other school.